Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I'm here with my co-host, as always, John Coates. How you doing, man?
I am doing terrific. Ready to summon some Iron Fist.
Yeah, we are not looking at an X-Men comic this week. We are looking at Iron Fist number 15. Why? Well,
15.
I mean, you can see on the cover why.
Yeah, because we just wanted something different.
Yeah, just taking a left turn.
Yeah. So, yeah, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's just get into it. Let's just go.
Let's just do it. So, Iron Fist 15 is the last issue of the Iron Fist series.
Okay.
And it is written by Chris Claremont.
Right.
He wrote all 15 issues of Iron Fist.
Cool.
Of the original run. And I'm pretty sure all 15 are also John Byrne with him.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. Iron Fist is also, I believe, bi-monthly.
Okay.
So it starts in November of 75, and Claremont starts his X-Men stuff also in 75, in August of 75. So like they give him X-Men and they give him Iron Fist right after that.
Okay. So he's probably writing monthly books, but they're just switching back and forth at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
And so, and then this fits in real nice because last week we looked at X-Men 108, the end of their big galactic space saga, and the first John Byrne doing art on X-Men. And now this comes before 109.
Okay.
This slots in nice, and the X-Men are going to sort of return home. And on the cover here, you can see Wolverine is still wearing his alien costume that he stole off the dude that he beat up.
Love it.
Yeah, great stuff. Cockrum cover on here too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I always loved Iron Fist. I loved the design of him. The character that I drew the most when I was a kid, my own character, was called the Dark Avenger, and he just looked like a super buff Iron Fist.
Oh, I'd read that.
Who used a slingshot because, the Dark Knight, Robin had a slingshot, and I thought that was rad.
Yeah. That's awesome. Nightcrawler looks good, like in the foreground here, kind of all in shadows and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a nice, great Cockrum cover.
Lamp and a piece of wall, so they're busting up somebody's house.
Yeah.
So here we go. And so since I mentioned, we'll spill some beans right here, right now. So since I mentioned Claremont wrote all 15 issues of Iron Fist while he was doing X-Men up till this point. So he also, around this time period or a little bit later, he started writing Marvel Team Up, which was our Spider-Man Team Up book. And he did that from 1977 to 1980.
Okay.
And John Byrne is with him on issues 59 through 70 of that run.
Okay.
Then in 1977, he also takes up writing Miss Marvel with issue 3 and goes all the way to the end of that series, which is issue 23. So he does 20 issues of Miss Marvel.
Wow.
And then as soon as Iron Fist ends, he jumps over and he does some issues of Power Man for a year.
Oh, very cool.
Which is where Iron Fist goes, and then that title becomes Power Man and Iron Fist, and our sort of classic team-up heroes are sort of born there.
Right.
So yeah, so he was real busy early on in his career at Marvel. He was getting all kinds of stuff, and and just doing his darndest to make it all cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, as a writer, you kind of have to do multiple books just to make ends meet, I imagine, because writers don't get paid as much as artists because it takes far less time. And there's other reasons. So a lot of artists or a lot of writers now you'll even see doing multiple books at a time. But yeah, another thing that's wild in this issue is to see. So Dan Green is the inker on this. And, we know what John Byrne's art looks like. And I was just at the Jack Kirby Experience art show that came through Los Angeles, and it was really, really glaring how much an inker can pull or help your style or hurt it at that show. Like you could just see the pages right next to each other. And it was, from the same year that the pages were made, but different inkers. It looked like a totally different person drew it. And Dan Green's inks on this, like when you're going through it, like there's a few panels where you can really tell that it's John Byrne, but a lot of the times it gets washed out in the inks and you can't even really tell that it's him at all. And I'm knowing that, he is at this point, I think at this point is right when he, like the issue after this one, Byrne goes over to X-Men. Is that right?
He does the issue before this.
Okay.
But I think the way they came out, this might have come out before the issue of his X-Men.
Okay. But they're very close.
Yeah.
His art style hasn't changed. So it is an inker thing. And it's just very interesting to see how much an inker can influence how your art looks at the end, because a lot of this really doesn't look like Byrne to me.
Yeah. Point out a lot of like things that really stand out to you as we flip through this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that is a real interesting point. And anybody who's never read the, like the original Iron Fist issues, like I've got most of the series and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. He's a cool martial artist character, just tons of fighting and weird villains that got cool costumes and all kinds of cool stuff going on. So right off the bat, enter the X-Men. Dun, dun, dun.
Making it part of the art out there, almost like an Eisner-y kind of thing.
So, and someone was the Rand Meacham, which is, of course, Iron Fist's company.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's trying to hijack one of his cars, and so he's here as Iron Fist, and he's just kicking ass. And he's fighting these guys, and they're taking machine guns. Mm-hmm. I like this. I always like when they do a machine gun, like you see the trail of bullets,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's not a lot of eyes and facial stuff going on in here, so which is where you can really tell a Byrne thing. But like the eyes in the lower right hand side don't really feel like Byrne to me. Although the mouth in the left side with a close up of Iron Fist do. I don't know.
Yeah, that's real interesting. And I wonder if there's differences just in, because he's still a pretty young artist at this point.
But when you look at the next issue of X-Men that he draws, he's already all there.
Yeah, his X-Men stuff, there isn't a lot of variation.
But it's a different inker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets knocked out by the Dark Avenger, this buff Iron Fist here.
Yeah. What?
Look at that. And and then he kind of sucks Iron Fist's energy out of him. His immortal chi. He just drains it.
Poor Fisty.
Yeah. Because this guy wants the Iron Fist.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's another, as Iron Fist is thinking, he could only learn these maneuvers in Kunlun, which is where Iron Fist trained.
Right.
So it must be someone else from his hidden city. There's a lot of that in the Iron Fist series.
Yeah.
So we leave that battle, and now we start to get our X-Men popping up.
Right. Yep.
Mhm.
This looks Byrne. This looks Byrne.
Yeah, and the whole the buildings look very Byrne.
Mm-hmm.
And it is sort of very gridded layout. And here we have Logan, a solitary, self-appointed vigil. Because as we saw in issue 101, he's pining over, or he's got the hots for Jean.
Right. And now he's being a little creeptastic, stalking her outside of her house.
Yeah, I wrote the note down. He's very kind of possessive of her.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
Which is very weird.
Yeah, and now he's got this picture. This is this is where the whole the meme from the animated thing kind of comes in, where he's like looking at her picture, right? Because he's got this picture where he rips Scott out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's saying, "Yeah, but Jean's different. I can't get her out of my thoughts, man. How can she think she loves a gutless wimp like Summers?" Crazy. It's also interesting to note, he calls himself, "My name is Logan."
Yes.
And that name has only showed up once so far from our friendly leprechauns at Banshee's Castle.
Yep. Who know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, Wolverine, as he says, nobody knows it. He hasn't shared it with anyone else yet. So none of the X-Men know that his name's Logan. But he's mooning over a lousy frail as he's lighting up. But then, he sees somebody sneaking across the roof and going in the skylight of Jean's apartment. So that means claws are out. You just made the biggest mistake of your life and the last.
That's right.
Yeah. So whoever this burglar is, he's going to go in there and murder him. And of course, it's Iron Fist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's here looking for Misty.
Yeah.
Misty Knight, as we remember, is Jean's roommate, but also is sort of Iron Fist's on-again, off-again girlfriend.
Right. Ex-cop with bionic arm, correct?
Yeah, and now she's sort of like a super PI stuff. And Iron Fist reveals to us she's in the Caribbean on a special assignment for the DA.
Right.
Where she's basically undercover.
Yep. For this Robert Redford looking guy here.
Yeah. And that happened in Iron Fist 13. She kind of sort of dumped him.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Iron Fist. And so we get our backstory of letting us know what's going on with Misty, because she's a regular character in the Iron Fist series, and she's down here trying to infiltrate the sort of criminal network of Bushmaster. Yeah.
Part of what would become the Serpent Society, right?
Yeah, he's got to be in there. Yeah, with that name. Yeah, and he's in the Power Man TV series, right? Is Bushmaster one of the?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the Black Mamba and a bunch of the snake named people.
Yeah. And there's a spread out here, there's going to be a party that hasn't happened yet, and Iron Fist is just sticking his hands in the the food. That's rude, man.
Yeah.
Tasting it. And then, of course, we get this great little image. Here comes Wolverine just busting through the door.
Yeah.
cutting it up. Freeze, bub. You're trespassing in my woman's place, mister.
Oh my God. So yeah, very possessive.
Yeah, his
for
woman?
no reason, only in his head. Didn't
Yeah.
even bother to change into his regular clothes after coming back from another planet
Yeah.
to go stalk her.
Yeah, right? Like, it kind of tells you, like, well, maybe they haven't been back very long. Like,
Yeah.
they, you know,
Mhm.
he hasn't got another costume yet. He's just going to wear this under his normal clothes for a while.
Yeah. I love the foreground Iron Fist back of the head, where it's sort of like underlining Logan jumping through there with the bandana.
Uh-huh.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, the framing is very cool. The Wolverine face here is very, like, I don't think you'll see a John Byrne Wolverine face like that ever again.
John Byrne, the thing that I noticed with him is he always does this very dark, very dark around the eyes. You'll notice, and that's something that like pulls the eyes out. And that picture right there doesn't have it. So especially when he's trying to do like intense moments, you'll notice it on a few pages here where he does that, and it's not there. And I just have to imagine that that Dan Green just skipped doing that and did it his own way, because inkers will do that.
Yeah, like the hair, like the widow's peak, like it comes down super low compared to where the eyes are.
Yeah.
And it does make you think like something maybe was redrawn here and readjusted, not by Byrne.
Right. Well, like if Kevin Nolan had inked that, it would look like a Kevin Nolan face. That's just how just how it kind of works sometimes.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting.
But a cool layout here.
Yeah.
Cutting through the door, and Wolverine finds out that like he made a mistake. Just crack.
Yep.
Bear paw thrust from Iron Fist right to the jaw.
Awesome. I love how Iron Fist is always like, even in his thoughts, when they have thought bubbles, he's just thinking through his actions.
Yeah, and they all have like cool names, like every move.
Yeah, he's telling you exactly what his move's called, and like, yeah.
And Wolverine, I ain't been hit like that since I was a kid, which is an interesting little tidbit dropped in about maybe some child abuse in his past or something.
You see his eyes there? What I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just dark around the eyes, which pulls them out.
And Bub, I'm gonna enjoy this fracas.
Koo. K-O-O-W.
Kadow. I think it's.
Oh, is it a D?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But Kadow is also a weird thing.
It's all weird.
And Wolverine's just cutting up the furniture, like.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jean doesn't need this.
Yeah, wrecking the place. But Iron Fist is thinking to himself, what Wolverine said about it's his woman's place. And now he's confused. He's like, well, Misty told me Jean Grey loved Scott Summers.
Yeah.
But if he means Misty Knight, no way.
That's not gonna fly.
So now he's thinking this is Misty's new boyfriend that he got dumped for, and it's go time now.
I love that panel where you actually see his pupils. It's very intense.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Makes him look real tough right there.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
And he keeps knocking Wolverine down because he's Iron Fist would be basically like your second best martial artist in the Marvel universe behind Shang-Chi. Right?
Right.
Bruce Lee's the top, and then he's second best, and then he can also, he's got all this power chi and the glowing fist and stuff. Yeah. So, Wolverine's not really going to beat him in a fight this way.
No.
Yeah. But of course we saw Iron Fist kind of got his chi drained earlier by the mystery guy.
Right.
So he's about to make the Iron Fist and he's like, what? Nothing's happening. And then here comes Wolverine again. And this is a nice little bit where he's mentioning Wolverine, his animal ferocity reminds me of Sabretooth. Could there be a connection?
Ding, ding, ding.
So Sabretooth's first appearance is the issue before this in Iron Fist 14.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where he first shows up, not in X-Men, but it's a nice little hint here that like, oh, well, maybe in the future, because this is all Claremont's world he's building here. In the future, maybe I'm gonna start to build a connection here because that guy was cool.
Yeah, I wonder what his thought process is at this point, where he plans on taking these characters. Like, how far in advance is he planning this stuff? I wonder.
Yeah, because I wonder if maybe he introduces Sabretooth in Iron Fist with the purpose of hopefully making him a Wolverine connection in X-Men later on.
Yeah.
Since he's writing both series, he's like, why not? Like, I can't fit him in X-Men right now, but
that's a question for the man.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, I know you're watching this episode, so, hit us up. Let us know how far in advance you were connecting Sabretooth to Wolverine. Inquiring minds would like to know.
Exactly.
And this is great. Like, he basically like kind of grabs him around his like weird necklace thing and just flings him clear across the apartment.
Yeah, that is a huge apartment, by the way.
Yeah, great digs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They're in New York?
Yeah, Greenwich Village.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Nice pad. I always appreciate like Byrne really puts in the work, like setting up like rooms and the settings, and like he's not afraid to like pull back and show you, and he's gonna put it all in.
No,
all the furniture and everything, and he's probably doing grids and really trying to make the perspectives all work right.
Mm-hmm.
So, boom, here goes Wolverine, and he goes clean out the window. And Iron Fist kind of freaks out, like, oh, I didn't think where I was throwing him. It's a 5-story fall. I've killed him.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's like, uh-oh.
And who just happens to be walking by, but...
Yep. And here we go. Nightcrawler has ditched his image inducer.
Yeah, he's totally confident now.
Yep. He's going to just be who he is.
Love it.
He's not going to wear that ever again. And
Man,
Peter's kind of like, but Kurt.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. This is Wolverine's fault that he has all this confidence, by the way, as we learned in classic X-Men.
Yep. Right. But here they see Wolverine falling from the apartment. Colossus changes, but he can't get there in time and wrecks his suit, of course.
Yep.
But of course, Nightcrawler can get there. Catches him, and they're trying to get updated, like, what's going on, And Wolverine, some dude, burglar, I think, he tried to kill me in Jeannie's place. I got no time for details. Toss me back up there. As you wish, Tovar. So here we get another fastball special, even though they don't call it that.
Love it.
And of course, Nightcrawler is the only one who's going to pause for a second and think clearly. Yes. Well, wait a minute. We don't even know if that guy's an enemy.
Right.
Because like if Wolverine's fighting him, you can't exactly trust Wolverine's judgment that it's for sure a bad guy.
No, Wolverine just goes.
Yeah.
I love that shot of him in the shadow bamfing into the apartment. It's just a beautiful drawing.
Yeah, that's a really great one. And, Iron Fist thinking, oh, it's a stench of brimstone. We're going to start seeing that a lot more mention of like, oh, brimstone.
Yeah.
To give us some olfactory sensation of what happens with Nightcrawler.
Yeah, what's interesting is that they keep talking about how it's the smell of brimstone, and he looks like a demon, and he's got this pointy tail and all that stuff. He's clearly like some sort of got some like demonic things going on with him. And they introduced in what was it, like Claremont's first story? Was it his first one where the demon, a demon comes after them? So like there are demons in the Marvel universe, obviously, with Mephisto and stuff. It's weird, like that he's like. I wonder if at any point they make some sort of relation of demons to Nightcrawler, or if it's just like glaringly that he just seems to have some sort of demonic influence.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Chris, because they definitely are, like, everything is set up to be like that has some sort of demonic connection,
right?
And they're laying it on pretty heavy that could be a thing. Yeah. And at this point, like, we don't really know his actual origin. We just know he was in the circus in Germany and people were trying to kill him.
Right. We know that he's a mutant because Cerebro wouldn't have found him if he wasn't. So.
Right. And other than that, we don't know who his parents are. We don't know what he's got going on.
I don't know. You might.
Right. Yeah. We will eventually know
right.
some stuff.
Cool.
But at this point, it's like he's layering stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then so he has something to go to for stories later on.
Sure.
Right. That's like a good writer, especially for this kind of monthly sequential storytelling kind of thing. You do the same thing if you're writing television or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless it gets canceled.
Yeah.
And of course, Iron Fist sees him and freaks out and thinks it's a demon and slugs him. And then he spins around and uses awesome like arm hold to flip Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And now here comes Colossus. So like, okay, here comes your heavy hitter. And Iron Fist is like, okay, this is getting out of hand now. Concentrate, young dragon. It's now or never. Only the Iron Fist can stop the Man of Steel.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Who's a cooler Man of Steel? Colossus or Superman?
Well, Superman's just the first one.
So it's Colossus. That's what I thought.
Yeah, of course he's cooler.
Yep. And he must have summoned it because Shakao.
He had a tiny bit of power left.
Shakao. Yep.
Yeah.
He did it. And there goes Colossus out. Colossus does get punched around quite a bit.
He does.
For being the heavy of the team. But they're always facing guys that like are stronger.
Right.
Which is great. Like the heavy still isn't enough.
Right.
Yeah. And now the rest of the X-Men are finally starting to show up. Aurora here showing up, thinking to herself, it feels good to soar for the sheer joy of it. Yep. These past months, the X-Men have been so hard put, merely keeping ourselves alive. We've had little time to relax and get to know one another. We're all friends, but in so many ways, we're still strangers. And hopefully the party tonight that Jean's throwing for him is going to change that. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it will. Something. Yeah. And Colossus gets, chucked into the table of food, and it sends the potato salad sort of just flying, and it hits Storm after she changes her costume into her fancy party dress. And that makes everybody pause. Like the X-Men are like, oh my God, what'd we do? And Iron Fist is like, oh, there's somebody there. But Kurt's like, oh, we're in for it now, I think. Great expressions on their faces. They're sort of shocked.
Yeah, I love that panel.
Their shocked faces. Good Colossus face there, you know.
What did we do?
Yeah. And now it breaks us over to here's Banshee and Moira showing up, and they're still all very much an item.
Yep.
But they can see above the apartment building the storm brewing.
Yes.
The lightning bolts, and it just looks awful.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And now Iron Fist is trying to get away.
Mm-hmm.
He's had too much. He's thinking that woman created a lightning storm out of thin air. I can't handle this alone. I got to get help from the Avengers.
I love it.
Yeah. But of course, Nightcrawler is like, no, you're not going anywhere. And he teleports up here and uses his power to actually lay some hits on him. But Iron Fist realizes the smell of the teleporting gives him a little bit of a little hint at where he's going to show up.
Yep.
And he
anticipates it.
Yep, to take him out. But now we get Banshee coming in here, and Banshee grabs him, slams him into a chimney. And here goes, Moira. And she's already thinking, like, this is terrible because after X-Men 105, the apartment got destroyed by Firelord, and they had to calm the landlord down because they almost got evicted, and now it's getting just wrecked again. It's like that airport they always use and just gets destroyed.
Yeah. Twice. And now this apartment building, the same setting, twice.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then here's our Banshee versus Iron Fist. And Iron Fist pulls this great move, legs up around Banshee's head and flips him.
Yeah, that's a solid
And then
move.
just with a hammer blow, just knocks him out.
Rock.
Yeah. Awesome move. Awesome little sequence. Like it's nice and clear. You get that nice beat by beat of what happens. Like I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's like, okay, now I can get out of here. But Storm says, wrong, villain. You attacked us and now you will pay. And he's thinking, he's like, villain, but I'm not a villain. And he gets chucked back into the apartment where Colossus is waiting, and they finally capture Iron Fist. And Wolverine's giving him the old sort of chew claws, and if he gets a third one, it's going to go right up through his nose.
What's the red around the claws there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of like, it's a weird. I don't know why they put that there.
Weird color choice, huh?
Yeah, color. It's like, and it's got like little energy around it or something. Maybe he was trying to draw some sort of like a movement kind of thing. And then the colorist was like, oh, it must mean energy. I need to color it like it's energy.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if the colorist had the script at this point and like knew what's going on in the stories, or if they're just, here it is, I'm just going to color this.
That's another question I do have on some of these ones, even with the Cockrum issues, like how much do they know or talk as they're doing this work?
Right. Yeah, because you got to clue the colorist in on things,
Yeah. And all of a sudden we get a voice, stop. And here we get our
Shazam.
Our Jean Grey effects, right?
Yeah.
With our weird bubbles and our pink and stuff. So we're still getting those cool psychic effects that Cockrum did for us. Because the Phoenix is home.
Yes, she is.
She looks pissed.
So I have a note here. Somewhere it says Iron Fist says Lords of Light on this page somewhere. Is it Iron Fist that says it?
Yeah, down here, Lord of Light. Does everyone know my
Yeah.
real identity?
They're just using that all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah, and I would have to go back through the other Iron Fist issues to see if he makes a reference to like somebody, because I mean he'll reference Kun Lun a lot, like
Yeah.
in his sort of like swearing to himself, or like, oh, you know, so and so of Kun Lun help me or something. But like I don't recall him doing that, the Lord of Light reference, but maybe it's referencing a Kun Lun teacher or something, or deity or something.
Wow.
But that's a good catch, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great little Phoenix drawing here. She looks
Totally.
very like inhuman in her facial features right
Yeah,
there.
she's kind of terrifying there coming in.
Yeah.
And look at Scott.
Yeah, he's like carrying the extra groceries.
But honey.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? And of course, Wolverine's like considering himself to be the man now, not, you know, in Jean's life, in his own mind. So he's like, but out Summers.
He is out of his mind.
Look, Jeannie, I found this burglar. And she finally sets him straight. You're crazy, Wolverine. He's no burglar. He's my roommate's best friend. And it's a nice classic Marvel mix-up to get your heroes to duke it out.
Right.
No villain needed.
No villain needed.
Yeah, and Scott's like, okay, Wolverine, as usual, jumped to conclusions. But why you, Aurora? And she's like, well, you don't understand. I was embarrassed, you know, because she got hit with the egg salad, the potato salad, the whatever. And that's a great little expression by her too. She's like, kind of like, I don't know, embarrassed, confused, like, oh.
She still has a little bit of that cat girl eyes in here too.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on when artists start toning that down. Like, who's the first one who pulls it back and doesn't?
Yeah, there've been a couple fill-in artists, not fill-in artists, I guess. There's been a couple moments where it hasn't been so obvious, and I'm wondering if it's just over time artists go and look back and see those spots and started to tone it down.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it happens during Byrne's run.
Must be.
Or if it happens, if it's just like much later, Paul Smith or somebody. But so now finally we get our epilogue, and the party is gonna happen, and everybody's hanging out. Here's the sofa with Wolverine's claw damage there.
You got these bearded blonde guys, right? So I take it that is Claremont, Byrne,
and Cockrum.
Is it Cockrum? Okay.
Yeah. And they're all like blonde bearded guys, and these are their have to be some of their girlfriends' wives at the time.
Sure.
So right here where this first lady's like, well, how do you tell how these bozos apart? Bond, that would be a reference. Well, so she's talking to this Bond, and she's saying, easy Patty, which would be, so this is Patty Wilford, who was Claremont's wife.
Okay.
And who co-plotted the Marvel Team Up Annual 1 and then did coloring and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And then so Bond is a reference to someone else's
wife or girlfriend.
Yeah,
right.
Wife or girlfriend. And then, and then Nightcrawler is kind of trying to get in here and wants to dance because he's like, Miss Wilford, may I have the next dance? So he's trying to get in on Claremont's action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as Moira was afraid of earlier, and here we get, the professor is here for the party, and with him, of course, is Lilandra.
There she is.
And still in her Shi'ar sort of space garb, just wearing it to the party.
Yep. So Nightcrawler and she have their regular costumes on. Looks like everybody else.
Yeah. But here's our angry landlord who is just like, you're demolishing this place, like you're out.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentions he's spoken with the owners of the building, Rand Meacham Limited, and I have authority to evict you at once. And what do you know? Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, his company owns the building.
Oh.
So he can just pop in and be like, I overheard you there. Well, I'm Daniel Rand. I'll call the office tomorrow and you'll have no more problems with the lease. Look at that.
Check it out. Problem solved.
Yeah. The benefits of having a mega rich superhero friend.
Yeah.
They just bail you out. And that's how they, got this awesome place.
You can wreck whatever you want as long as you.
Yeah.
And that's also probably how they got that awesome place, because you know that even then that place would be going for far more than a private detective and whatever the heck Jean does.
Yeah, nothing. Which begs the question, like, they were talking over coffee and gonna become roommates so they could split the rent and afford it themselves.
Right.
But if Danny Rand actually owns the building and he's dating Misty, like, why can't they get the rent for free? Why can't they just live there for free? Like,
we gotta have a chat with Danny here,
right?
On,
like,
dude.
Step up, Danny.
No wonder she left you.
Come on, bro. help him out,
Yeah. Jean doesn't even have a job. She's just lights on fire.
Yeah. Like, that's not a marketable skill.
No.
Over here. Yeah, and he's talking about, and Danny's like, "Hey, sorry about the damage." And Jean says, "Well, that's okay. As far as the heavy work's concerned, I already have a volunteer to take care of sort of demolition, don't I, Wolverine?" And he crushes his beer because he's so angry. Like, because he screwed up and now he's got to pay for it. And now, he looks foolish in front of the woman that he's trying to woo.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And that is our nice little Iron Fist X-Men connection here.
Beautiful.
By Chris Claremont and John Byrne.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love that cover. Love that cover so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's very striking.
Yeah, great colors. Like, the whole thing just pops. It's awesome.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, and it's a great little I like this, that where Claremont gets to write all these books and the way he kind of ties X-Men stuff together and introduces it and then brings it over to X-Men. And so this is just kind of the beginning of several kind of major times where this kind of thing is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah,
because after this, we're going to go back to X-Men number 109 and 110. And then right after 110, we're going to go to Marvel Team Up number 69.
Yes.
So, we're going to be jumping in and out here. So pay attention to the roadmap at the beginning of the episode so you know when we're going to be doing that.
That is right.
Yeah, these were fun. This was a fun one. So at the end of the episode here, there will be a time lapse drawing of the thumbnail that you can also purchase on my website. John, where can we find you on the webs?
I'm on the Instagram at JD Coates, and my comics are at dinobeast.com.
Awesome. Please don't forget to sign up to my Patreon. Three-Headed Pigman is going strong. People are loving it. Get on the choo-choo train now so you don't miss out. And at the end of this, there will be a little thing where you can find out whatever the hell else that both of us actually are working on. So until next time for number 109, be excellent. Later.
That's right. Later.
Check out dinobeast.com for all things John Coates like Dino Beast, Ninja 4, MLF, Berserker, and more. ChrisAndersonComics.com is where it's at for books like Chaotic Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels, and more, plus apparel and original art. Also a link to Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time on the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club.